Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So Jim Hansen is here in the studio. Welcome, Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning. He is always has a big smile and always has so much enthusiasm, and that's what I like about Jim, and that's what I like about people. It's funny how many people I would call and say, well, I have an opening this morning at 6 o'clock, and they say, 6 o'clock in the morning? I can't get there. I mean, they make all these excuses, but not Jim Hansen. Okay, I'd love to be there. I mean, that says so much about you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you know, I said another opportunity to watch the sunrise.
Oh, yeah. See, that's it. There's no sun yet.
Well, not yet. But.
No, you're absolutely right. Well, of course, I get up so early. I've done it for so long, but I see it as an opportunity to make people at home, whom we don't know where they are, what they're doing, have something nice to listen to.
Absolutely.
To learn a lot.
Yes.
And, of course, in your last article in the March issue, centered Seniors Helping Seniors, which is your organization, is centered on the power of love. And people, unfortunately, don't equate that with ill people. They think they just need good medical care.
Oh, my goodness. No. I mean, we all need love. It's what makes us get up in the morning and go on. I mean, the power of love is, you know, God is love. I mean, it's just, that's what resonates with all of us. So, and that is what makes us get well. I mean, because if we're enveloped in love, doesn't that make all the difference? You know, you can have the worst day in the world, but it brings joy to your day to know that somebody cares about you.
I think, I haven't tried this experiment, but I bet if we went to a nursing home and found someone that has no family and doesn't really have too many people who know him or her, and put a person in the next room where family comes in and friends come in and everybody's there loving them, what a difference in the longevity of that other person, I'm sure.
You know, I'll give you a great example. When we start a service with one of our clients, a lot of times they'll meet us at the door and they'll be disheveled. They'll have their nightgown on. They haven't groomed themselves because they're depressed. To your point, and then what we start to find is, like, by the third visit, all of a sudden, she shows up at the front door. She's dressed. She's got a little rouge on her face, a little lipstick on her lips, because now she's looking towards that visit. So you're absolutely right that and that's what it takes. You know, all of us, it's having something to look forward to. And what better than to have somebody that loves you come and have that to look forward to? You know, I'm about to go, you know, I'm on the other end of the spectrum too. My daughter is pregnant with identical twin boys. And so I'm so excited because what am I doing? I'm waiting for that bundle of love to be delivered. And so
no, two bundles.
Two bundles of love, you're right. And so it's that anticipation of just coming to see that gets me so excited. And that's exactly what happens in our world. So, you know, I think you're absolutely right. And the sad thing is, Anita, that so many people, especially down here in South Florida, they go into a nursing home and their family is not even nearby. So, and as we age, I tell people that, you know, the problem is that as we age, our world continues to shrink. And so when we start, you know, like last night, raining, dark, I don't want to go out and drive anymore. Now, no, when I was in my 20s, that didn't even faze me. Because I wanted my freedom, I wanted to go out, I wanted to do things. But as I got older, I didn't want to do those things. Well, that's a self-imposed. But then as we get older, we're living in our home, our family moves away, so we don't have those connections. All of a sudden, the neighbors that we've had as neighbors for the last 30 or 40 years, unfortunately, they get sick, they pass away, they move away, and now there's strangers that used to be my neighbors are no longer my neighbors. So I can't count on them the way I used to be able to do it. I mean, I have a wonderful relationship in my neighborhood. I have the best neighbors possible. We do everything for each other. And all of a sudden, we get to that point where we don't have them. Now, what ends up happening as we get older? Our license. They take our license away because now we can't drive because we've gotten into a couple of fender benders. Well, now think about that. The freedom that we used to have as a teenager, and now we've now driven for 60 years, and now all of a sudden the family says, Mom, Dad, it's not safe for you. So our world shrinks more and more.
And they don't provide a driver. Let's move that forward. Because I think my husband's often said, when are we going to get a driver?
There you go.
I'm the driver, but we could sit back. Rich people used to sit back in the back seat, and they had drivers, right?
Driving Miss Daisy.
Right, driving Miss Daisy. We all need a... But you're so right, Jim. It is the losses, and I do appreciate that. But I want to tell you, that's why actually senior centers are very good for people.
Yes.
If they're up and about, because they do have a lot of other people that they can share, at least during the day. But then we're going to halt that. Now it's time for them to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to fix their dinner? Who's going to do the shopping? Who's going to help them live that life when they're not there at the senior center? And your organization is so perfect. It's interesting that we talk about companions and people who can really make that difference. And it's not in the mind of an older adult to think they need a companion. Isn't that funny? They think they can go it alone.
Right.
Why don't you tell them in some of your experiences what that's really like?
Well, one of the things that's unique about our organization is that we, the name says what we do, right? It's seniors helping seniors. And people say, what do you mean by that? I said, well, what we do is we take what society has cast aside. Our senior population gets such a bad rep because they say, okay, you've gotten to retirement age. I don't think you and I are ever going to retire. I mean,
no, we won't.
We have such a passion for life. But, when you retire, the community says, enjoy your retirement. Go out, play your shuffleboard, play pinochle, enjoy the rest of your days. And they waste all this wonderful talent that we have. There's 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every single day in this country. That number of people that is flooding into the retirement area, what a wasted opportunity. So what we do is we take that active senior that has so much, and we match them up with our seniors in a companionship role. So we put purpose and meaning back in the lives of our younger active seniors, and we match them up in a peer-to-peer relationship with our seniors who are, not able to do the things that they used to do, but they still want to do things. To your point, they still want to cook. They still want to go out. They still want to be part of society. But we don't we do something different because we don't have the stigma that's attached. We're not out there, and I don't mean to disparage any other organization out there. I'm just pointing out the difference with us. We have, our people look like a friend helping a friend, not a younger person that is in scrubs, and when they go out in public, they feel embarrassed. We drive up, we come to your home, there's no identification, so it looks like just a friend visiting. So people are much more willing to use our service as a result of that because there's not that stigma. And so think about it. Tony Bennett. Now, Tony Bennett's, of course, pretty popular today because he's making all these duets like with Lady Gaga and stuff. But Frank Sinatra.
Wait. And he's actually now what? Is he 80?
He's in his 80s or maybe he's, and his voice still sounds great, by the way. It's amazing. But, who's Frank Sinatra? Who's Count Basie? Who are these people from the past? What's World War II about? Younger people today don't have a clue as to who these people are or where it is. What about the Depression? Now our seniors today might have been through the Depression, or they were at least the children of Depression parents. So they were firsthand. They knew about it. But a 20-year-old has no clue. The difference, Anita, with us compared to a lot of other agencies is that many people can have sympathy. We have empathy. And that is such a dramatic difference.
I want to jump in on that. That's funny that you should even mention that. When I was in Minneapolis, when I first got married, it's like 40 years ago, my husband went to run a big organization in Minneapolis. It was a new town in town, and it was on the campus right near the University of Minnesota. And it's the first time in my life I didn't have to work. And I'd worked all my life since I was 14 years old, so here I am. And I said, okay. After a month, I said, this isn't going to be good for me, so I went to the hospital, St. Mary's or something. And the woman running it was a nun, and she said, I told her about my background. She said, well, why don't you go to the second floor and start talking with the seniors and do programs, and which I did. And then she said, I guess I never tell you the story? Then I said, she said, I want you to go start maybe to volunteer for this woman. And she's been living in an iron lung for...
Oh, boy.
I didn't tell you that story?
I think you did, yes.
Iron lung since she's now 30, she was 10. And I did that, and it made such a difference in my life. And here this woman couldn't move anything, and she had all these people coming in and helping her. And they're the volunteers in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And they were so wonderful because it's what you said. Most volunteers are older, and they did all this for them, of this woman, and they could never feel sorry for themselves because they knew what she was experiencing. But the one thing that when I first started, I felt badly for this woman in the iron lung. And the sister said this to the nun, said to me, Anita, there are three things. You can have sympathy, you can have apathy, and you can have empathy. And she taught me about empathy. You can go there all day, help her, and then you have to go home and be yourself. You can't do anything else about it, but it shouldn't keep you from doing it, but you can't take it home with you.
What a wonderful
experience. That was the empathy, and I
Yeah.
never forgot that.
That is a great story.
It was. And
Yeah.
so people usually don't talk about empathy, but that's really what your whole business is based on.
It is. It's all about, and it's about paying it forward. It's about being able to know that if I take care of this person, maybe when I'm in this situation, somebody is going to take care of me the same.
For the grace of God.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I was just thinking about what you're saying. In the last issue of Boomer Times, we featured the original Florida Follies. You talk about women. I mean, here they are. They're not going to be sad. I mean, they're still... I mean, it's amazing to see what they look like. There are many of them in the 70s, 80s. There was even a 90-year-old. She had actually been in, I think, I guess when they first started many years ago, the Rockettes.
Oh, yes.
There was a Rockette. And the other thing that I was just a judge at, and I always want people to come to this, and you'd be very interested in this, is the Senior Idol, which we just judged. And we had 80 people who came. Many of them like to sing like Frank Sinatra. And we found some fantastic people. Now, you have to be over 65. And we found some who were, 67, 70, and they were fantastic. I mean, years ago, I've been doing this for many years with them, and it used to be the 90-year-olds and the 80-year-olds. Now, as you said, the boomers now, it's the 70-year-olds who are coming there. And so here's a person that stands up on the stage, and they're all by themselves, a 70-year-old, and they're singing.
That's great.
It is wonderful. So, I like you, have all this great joy for the older adult and what they can do, but they need assistance. And I just want to. You and I were talking before the show. Someone on our staff's father had a double, triple bypass, And what happened, of course, is they don't realize that they're in the hospital, and then they're released. They go home. And they have their wife. He had a wife there. And they tried to follow the doctor's orders, and they did have a nurse that came in twice a day. But he was in deep trouble. He wasn't doing what he's supposed to. He wasn't breathing right. He's back now, very serious, in the hospital.
That's terrible.
And that's what I told him. I said, you need to find Seniors Helping Seniors, a franchise there. You need to get someone to be there, whether it's a week or 2 weeks. You have to go to rehab probably. But then you can't just go home. It's too much trauma from the home to the hospital, then back home, and now back in the hospital.
Well, it's not only the trauma for him, but his spouse. The exhaustion that creates on the spouse is enormous. So, if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for your spouse. That needs a little bit of respite, that needs a little bit of, time to themselves so that they can re-energize their batteries to be able to go back in and provide that 24/7 care that you do as a spouse. I mean, I saw that with my father-in-law, with my mother-in-law that was with cancer.
Well, this was one of the reasons you even got in this business, you told me.
Yeah, because, he was at the point of sheer exhaustion because he was taking care of her 24/7, didn't had, prideful man, didn't need help, and he ended up with a heart attack and being ill himself as a result of it. So,
I always fail. You come in here, and I'm so happy to see you. I fail to tell people. I know who you are, but people listening don't. James Hansen, Jim Hansen. He's just really special.
Yeah, just remember the Muppet guy.
The Muppet guy. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Jim Hansen. So, Seniors Helping Seniors, a way to give and to receive. And let me give you the phone number. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. 561-392-4846. 561-392-4846. Or go online to seniorshelpingseniors.com. There are two things that Jim Hansen would like to urge you to do. Number one, if you need the help at home, call him. But if you want to be that helper, call him. So you have two missions.
we have two missions. We consider ourselves an employment agency for our seniors. We're if you have a loving, caring, compassionate heart, and you want to help others, and we make some money, but we want people that have that. I tell people, if you have a volunteer heart and you don't mind getting paid for it, give us a call, because that's what we're looking for. We want that person that gets the satisfaction, that's looking for some meaning. When you're, to your point, when we help somebody else, it bounces back to us. So do that. It makes such a difference. And for those people out there, when you were younger, when I was younger and I had younger children, I much prefer having my children taken care of by another mother, because they knew exactly what needed to be done. And so fast forward that, isn't it better to have a senior that is going through a lot of this, has some age under their belt, and have them go through and help, because they know what that person's going through. They're dealing with a lot of the same things themselves. Not that we make sure that everybody is screened. We go through a level 2 criminal background checks. We know that they've got a clean record. They want to do this, but most of all, they want to help others. And so that's what I look for when I interview somebody. I love when I hear, I want to pay it forward. And when I hear that, that's the right heart. And that peer-to-peer relationship makes a difference. Just like that mother who is taking care of your children when you're out, you know that person knows what to do because they've got the experience. And that's what our seniors have. They have the experience to do it. And many of them have taken care of a loved one or a mother or somebody themselves. It doesn't take a lot of skill. It takes a lot of love. But when skill and love are brought together, it's a masterpiece.
Oh, beautiful. It's a masterpiece. I love that. Well, we have time, and I want you just to run through some of the things that someone would do when they would come to help someone.
Well, let me tell you, we try to bundle things the best we can. So we're very budget conscious. So what we'll do, for example, is let's say that we're going to take you to the doctor's. Well, we'll come a little early. We'll strip your bed. We'll throw the laundry in the washer. And then we'll take you to the doctor's. First of all, we're not a cab. We don't drop you off. We come into the doctor's office with you. And we'll be your advocate when we're in the doctor's office, so that if you're sitting there for too long, we can say, hey, we've been sitting here for 20 minutes. Why hasn't anybody at least acknowledged, my client?
But wait, then will they go in so they can hear what the doctor says?
Yes. Families, if they give us permission, we'll go in with them, listen, take notes, because that is vital sometimes, because doctors are confusing to people. So it's good to have another set of ears to be able to hear what's going on. And then what we'll do is we'll go grocery shopping. We'll drop their prescription off. We'll pick up their prescription. We'll go back home. We'll go back. We'll throw the clothes that were in the washing machine. We'll put them in the dryer, and we'll start to prepare a meal, maybe a couple of meals, because we don't have to be there every day. We can do a little or we can do a lot, but we try to bundle it. So we'll prepare a few meals. We'll put all the groceries away, and we'll spend a little time cooking and getting all that done. So there may be a couple of meals. Then we'll put all the clothes back on the bed, and boom, we're out of there.
Jim, what do I do to get that service myself? Oh my! I was loving it. You're gonna do my grocery shopping, take care of my laundry, fix my bed, and I can go work.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any laws against?
No, I think we could probably,
I think
when
you're
do you
in the
need my
wrong
service?
market. I think you need to go to the working women and men who.
Oh, that's
my
funny.
gosh! Did I love what you were saying?
That is great.
And it's funny.
You might have just come up with a whole new concept.
I think so. I was loving that. Well, I was thinking too, because this is interesting. I have some friends who can't drive at night, and they're in their 50s.
Okay.
And they'd love to go to the theater, but they can't go at night. In fact, I have tickets sometimes to take them, and they can't. I can't pick them up because they're all the way down somewhere. You know what? This really could be a service. Yeah. I don't know if there is another service like this. I
don't think there is. What we do is very, very unique in the marketplace, and I love it. So it's.
Well, this is very, very thrilling. I love when you're here, because you do. When you come in, there's a certain energy of love. Is there a possibility to have an energy of love? That's what you bring with you.
Oh, well, thank you. But I just, I think that there are people that have that, and as we started, we have a DNA of love in our company. Karen, with spending 14 years being mentored by Mother Teresa, you don't get much more compassion than Mother Teresa. And so Karen permeates that through our whole company. And, go on our website, read her story. It's just a remarkable story that, for 14 years she worked for Mother Teresa. And, we could spend hours just talking about some of that stuff. But that's where it starts from. The seeds of love grow from her and just permeate our whole organization.
And, of course, people don't really know you, but you've been a very successful businessman, especially in the subway. Not in subways, but... but in the whole company of Subway. And for you to decide to do this says a lot about this company and what you're doing for it. And we're so happy to have you with us and doing this. We just love it. And so it's Seniors Helping Seniors. Phone number again is 561-392-4846. 392-4846. And when you call that number, you may have to leave your name and your phone number, and someone will call you back, though. You can be assured of that. Go on the website at seniorshelpingseniors.com. And Jim Hansen, we look forward to your article coming up in April, and we certainly look forward to a lot of other things with you.
Anita, it's always a pleasure. Really.
I feel the same way. Okay, everybody, we're going to have Dr. Mencias coming in. I know, I'm not supposed to do that, am I? No. And we have to see. We have to. We're going to put you on YouTube, and we're not supposed to talk about anybody else coming in, so we separated. But he'll cut it out. So I'm sorry. I'm not trained on that.
That's what
yet.
he's there for.
I know. Well, no, I try to make it easier for him. But we will be back with another guest. That's what he wants me to say. Okay, so thank you very much, Jim, and
Thank you,
have
Anita.
you back again.
We're looking forward to it.
All right, bye.
All right.